LCARA HAMRadio presents a Time Machine Tuesday vintage video release. Welcome to Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association. You can find us at LCARA.net, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. If you're enjoying the videos we're producing here at LCARA, please help our club out by hitting that subscribe button. Also, give us some feedback on our videos. Click the like button, share with anybody who may find it interesting, and be sure and hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified of the next video release. Chris, KY4CKP here, and along with Brian, KY4BDP, we want to do a simple test to try to get some fairly real-world example of using some different antennas with some radios and whether or not different brands or styles of antenna may give you actually better performance. And of course, one of the things we've run into is the Abbreee, and we have the extra long version of that, and then also a Nagoya. And this is back on the HC with the Abbreee antenna.
All right, so let's bounce back and forth between the antennas. This is KY4BDP Mobile. I'm at the Minute Mart here, convenient food mart at the intersection of Central and Bourne, and we're just testing out these two antennas at the third location. Let's try the Nagoya next.
KY4CKP back on the HT with the Nagoya antenna. Again, both of these are running at low power currently.
Roger that. It's actually sounding pretty good. Not that bad at all. Maybe a little extra noise, but not too bad at all.
I may have volume down. Yeah, this is the HT with the Nagoya on low power. But you were coming through pretty good right then. I may have just had the volume down, switching back and forth between these HTs. But that last transmission was actually pretty decent. Just a little bit of noise.
All right, well, I think we can move to the next location. The Nagoya is still picking me up just fine. So this is KY4BDP Mobile moving to the next location.
Free antenna with KY4BDP. How are you? Am I coming in so far?
KY4BDP Mobile. Yeah, it's loud and clear. So I'm definitely going to head out Bourne Avenue here and probably go down to the dairy processing, and then I'll stop there and we'll give it another go. But yeah, you're coming through loud and clear.
Let me try one more quick comparison test with the Nagoya unit and see if it's still coming through as clear at this location or not.
Yeah, Roger. Let's give the Nagoya a chance. I bet it'll be all right.
KY4CKP on the other handy talkie with the Nagoya antenna. How does this sound?
Well, I can definitely read you, not a problem, but it is definitely a little extra noise, so it's not as good as the Abbreee. It's definitely not as clear.
Okay, Roger, and I just switched from high to low power. I had tried high power when we had lost contact. So this is the handy talkie with the Nagoya antenna. This is low power. Are you still receiving me at all? And if so, I would assume it's still at least somewhat scratchy.
Yeah, no, I can read you just fine. A little bit noisier than the Abbreee, but it's still coming through even on low power. So I think we're ready for the next location.
Excellent deal. We'll go ahead and cut this segment and we'll try it again from the next location. KY4CKP.
KY4BDP Mobile, clear.
KY4CKP for KY4BDP. Checking in for the new location.
This is KY4BDP Mobile. Yeah, you're coming through well, and I think you're still on the Nagoya. It's a little bit of noise, but not bad. I read you just fine.
Correct. Right now, still on the Nagoya antenna and 1 watts or low power on this UV5X3 tri-band radio. Yeah, you're coming through just a hint of scratch, and I think what we were seeing some of the off-screen testing was a little bit of orientation if one or both of us is actually in motion, but for the most part, this is still a good, strong signal.
Roger that. Okay, I'm going to go across over to West 80 and stop at the old post office over there, and we can check in and see how that's looking.
Let me do just a quick test with the Abbreee antenna and see if there's less scratch, and then we'll try that next location.
Roger that. Waiting for your call.
KY4CKP for KY4BDP. now using the HT with the Abbree antenna, still transmitting low power, approximately 1 watt.
Yeah, I can already tell a difference. Your level came up quite a bit, and definitely definitely clearer. So it's definitely even on such low power, it's giving you a much better read on my side.
Yeah, and I think you're just a little bit clearer as well, just a little bit less noise. Not that there was a lot on the Nagoya, but I think it is a little bit better. So we'll go ahead and check this next location and see if that stretches the Nagoya a little bit further.
KY4 BDP mobile, clear.
For BDP, I'm on the Abbree antenna, but back down at 1 watt. So let's check how we're receiving at this power and antenna style.
KY4 BDP mobile, yeah, it's much clearer on the Abbree, even on low power.
Yeah, and you're coming in really nice and clear at that location. About how far would you say that particular location is?
If I had to guess, I'm guessing about 8 or 9 miles.
I'd say that's a pretty good distance for the soft hills that we're in here in central Kentucky for HTs and relatively low power, 5 watts on your end, 1 watt on this end. So I'll switch over to the Nagoya and we'll do a comparison for that one.
Roger, waiting for your reply. The Abbree antenna came in quite a bit clearer that time. Let's see how the Nagoya does.
So now picking up with the Nagoya handsets, again, low power, and let's see how this one sounds.
Reads you just fine. It's pretty clear, actually. It's not too bad, but a little scratchier than the Abbree antenna, and it sounds like the level's just a little bit further down.
I think for my ears, I would say the same thing. You're still plenty copyable, maybe just a little bit of noise compared to the Abbree, but at this current setup and location, no chop or anything like that. Pretty amazing that both antennas are doing quite so well. They seem to go to about the same spots and then become, uncopyable and unreadable at just about the same time in a somewhat non-scientific measurement of just heading out with the car.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think for this test anyway, I think we're done, and we definitely can show, and just based on our personal experiences, that the Abbree is clearer, but based on the topography and so forth, they do seem to cut out at about the same time. So I think it's about time to head back to base.
All right, we'll wrap up this particular segment. We'll wait for you to get back, and we'll kind of wrap things up for this particular video. KY4CKP, I'll be clear for now.
And this is KY4 BDP Mobile. We'll be clear for now, and I'll meet you back at base. So there you have it, 8 or 9 miles, something like that. I'm at low power here on my mobile rig. He's on low power on the HT, but even with the Nagoya, we didn't have the rubber ducky to test, but it definitely probably wouldn't have been as clear. But I'm pretty pleased. Both of those antennas do pretty well. Is the Abbree in this particular test the overall winner? Not by much, but it is clear, and the level comes up a little bit. But let's get back to base and we'll summarize there. Well, Chris, how do you think this went? I had a good time doing this, but how do you think this went?
I think it was a fun experiment to check these antennas out. They're both options for upgraded antennas for your radios. Reasonably similar price points. We had a beautiful day to do it on.
Oh, wow.
Turned out very nice.
Beautiful day in November.
Cool enough to where you can be outside and not get overheated. Your equipment doesn't overheat. But I was surprised by the results.
I was too, because I'm expecting this 42-inch Abbree to like really reach out there and make a huge difference. But really, they both cut out at about the same point in our non-scientific tests. And although, yeah, you could tell that the Nagoya was there with a little bit of scratchiness to it, and as soon as you would switch to the Abbree, you could hear the level come up a little bit, and it was a little more clear. They both cut out at the same time, which is more probably a factor of the topography here in southeastern Kentucky.
Yeah, with the foothills, that's going to be our limiting factor. So was the Abbree clear in almost any testing situation, or at least once you got to a point where the Nagoya had any sort of noise or scratch on it at all? It was. It was. What you were saying, it was. But they cut out pretty close to the same distance. You tried a couple of different directions,
yeah,
south and Was it west or east?
Well, I went south originally, and I'm not sure how much of that will ultimately make it into this video, but when I went north and west, that's when I really started getting out distance-wise, and I think Chris and I were both expecting like the Nagoya would finally just kind of wink out, and then the Abbree would pick up, but we never saw that.
Yeah, somewhere around, what was it, 8 to 10 miles?
Yeah, maybe 8 miles, somewhere in there. If I get a chance, I'll throw up a map here in the video.
Yeah, kind of show that. Either they both cut out or they were both still there. If they were both still there, Abbree was better, but marginally better.
Marginally.
Not you know, we never had a situation where the Nagoya was not copyable, but the Abbree was.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're trying to find. That's one reason we were doing low power on the handy talkies, low power for the mobile unit. So we wouldn't have to try to drive 20 or 30 miles to find that limit.
Very true.
So yeah, surprising results, but good results. They're both good antennas. I think that's the main takeaway. They're both good antennas. But if you're going to pay a price premium at all, and in my opinion, take a mobility hit with the Abbree because of its size, even though it can be bent down and stowed away, for me personally, it wouldn't be worth paying the extra cost. The Nagoyas are nice and they're easy to pack.
Right. I think the Nagoyas are easy to pack in a go bag. It's not that big a deal. And yes, the Abbree can fold, and that's why we call it the slap bracelet of antennas. But I'm not persuaded that I'd rather have the Abbree. I mean, it's more expensive. It's definitely more unwieldy on the radio. And the Nagoya did perfectly fine for our unscientific test. So I had fun testing it because I've seen this antenna all over the internet, but at the same time, I'm not sold that that's a better buy. Yeah,
it's kind of fun, and it's definitely going to turn some heads if you go walking down the beach or at the park with one of these. But a real performance differential, maybe like you were saying, a flat plane or a different topology. For us, line of sight becomes a factor before either one totally gives up, or they give up at the same time. So yeah, if it were me, I would stick with Nagoyas, but the Abbree, it was a good antenna.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
A good performer, and just not enough better, I guess.
I use a diamond on the FT2DR, and it does a phenomenal job, but it's longer too. It's not 42 inches. I think it's right at 70 centimeters or something like that, and right at the 440. But even it becomes too long, and it comes in two pieces. So the Nagoya is a great compromise.
Yeah, they're a well-known brand, well-liked brand. I've got their 771, the NA 771 for 2 meter, 70 centimeter. And then, of course, today we were testing with the NA 320A, which is a tri-band. Adds the 1.25 meter in there. I've had good results with all those. I think the big moral of the story, to a degree, similar to our other videos that we did on the handy talkies earlier, is replace the rubber ducky antenna, and there's a lot of great choices.
Absolutely, and I just don't think you're going to have a problem with either of these antennas, but whether it's a Nagoya or a diamond or any of those, that shorter form factor, something other than the rubber ducky will usually do you a better job. Yeah,
so I think that's it. It was a fun test, and it's always good to try to get some real world aspect on some of this equipment that's out there.
Well, you know, how many times have you go, I wonder how much better this one really is? And until you get it out there and kind of play with it, you don't know. So we thought we'd capture it today on video.
Yes, and share it with you folks. So I think that's pretty much it. It is a good antenna, maybe just not better enough for most situations, but it's certainly not a bad antenna. So.
Not a bad one. And if you guys think we should have done something differently, let us know down in the comments. We just had a good time with it, an unscientific test. But tell us what you would have liked to have seen, and we'll see if we can maybe incorporate that into a future video.
Yeah, maybe with other antennas. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. This is Chris, KY4CKP.
And I'm KY4BDP, Brian.
And this is Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association,
73s.